This is a News 3 Now special presentation. A season-opening showdown under the lights at Camp Randall. Game day is here. The Badgers are back for year 3 of the Luke Fickell era, and the pressure has never been higher. The air raid is in the rearview mirror as Bucky gets back to its roots. A rebalanced offense under Jeff Grimes with fresh faces from the transfer portal banking on a run-first mentality to restore their identity. Can this revamped offense finally lift off tonight against the Redhawks from the Mid-American Conference?
We always have one goal in this program is to play for championships.
This is Wisconsin Gameday, coming to you live from the field at Camp Randall Stadium. Let's go.
You're taking a live look at historic Camp Randall Stadium after 9 long months. Football is finally back. We are less than 90 minutes away from football here at Camp Randall Stadium. Good evening, I'm Eric Franke alongside our sports director Andrew Banstra, live from Barry Alvarez Field, the playing surface here at Camp Randall Stadium. And Andrew, we are just about ready to kick off 2025 football here in Madison.
And could you think of a more exciting night? Year 3 of Luke Fickell on the way, and we are here to preview it all the way.
That's right. We've got Miami starting to warm up here behind us. Fans are starting to trickle in, but it's going to be a great night for football, and yeah, you can just feel it in the air.
And before we really get into ourselves and find our way into year 3, we got to talk about what happened last year. It's the elephant in the room here in this building. The Badgers looking to build a new culture here in Madison. Year 2 started off pretty well, but turned into a season of what-ifs. If they want to get back to who they were, they need to take care of business tonight against Miami of Ohio.
And it's not the Hurricanes. It's not Miami of Florida. It is the cradle of coaches, the Redhawks of Miami of Ohio. Not a lot of history between the two. They had one prior meeting, and that was in 2015. It was a 58-0 victory for the Badgers right here at Camp Randall Stadium.
Now, if Wisconsin wants to get back to their winning ways, Eric, their schedules this season is not doing them many favors.
No, this is quite a gauntlet. It's one of the toughest schedules in all of college football, no doubt. 6 teams ranked in the top 25. 5 of them are in the preseason top 15. So we're talking about some serious opponents. That includes a week 3 trip. Who wouldn't love to go to Tuscaloosa to take on perennial power Alabama? Then 3 weeks later, all they have to do is go to 14th ranked Michigan in Ann Arbor, followed by reigning national champion Ohio State. They play at 7th ranked Oregon, a playoff team last year down in Bloomington against Indiana. They also will play a highly lauded Illinois Fighting Illini team coached by Brett Bielema here in Madison a little bit later this year as well. Now, if they can get, though, back to traditional Wisconsin football, power football, physical football, Andrew, they're going to be a handful for anybody.
They really are, and that's kind of the message from this team. That's who they think they want to be. That's who they think that they can be this year. And that's why, while a lot of people would think that this schedule is all doom and gloom, the Badgers say they look at it a different way.
You want to be at the top of college football, you want to be at the top of the mountain, you got to go through the top competition. We obviously have that on our schedule. There's a lot of good opportunities, so I think, we're excited for all of it, but I think obviously, we got our eyes set on August 28th or whatever it is when, game 1 rolls around, and then we'll take it one game from time there and keep it rolling.
For us, we see that as more fuel. We're already counted out by a lot of people, even our own fans count us out. So, to us, we have nothing to lose. Let's go out there and I just see this opportunity personally. I think we all see it that way. A lot of good teams. That's the best measuring stick to see, where you're at as a team and as a player. So, it's one of the hardest schedules, if not the hardest, but, who would want it any other way?
Maybe in the past, playing in the Big Ten West, where you maybe didn't have these crossover games, we've got these top 5 teams, it really did. You had a schedule that you knew, here are your big games. Well, now those, with this crossover of the Big Ten being one conference, not an East and West thing, you really do have, you got some dogs on your schedule. And if you're not willing to bring it every single Saturday, you can lose to any team you play. However, with this conference, we do have the ability to beat any team we play.
Certainly certainly hope that they can turn some heads this season, but it all starts tonight against Miami of Ohio.
You know what's turning heads, though?
What?
This weather.
It is.
This
it really
is incredible. It was a little toasty down here in the pregame.
It was, yes.
But the sun went down, and this almost feels like an early taste of autumn football.
It sure does. And now that we've got that east-northeast breeze coming right in down on the stadium right now, you got that extra feel, that crisp feel. Temperature is at kickoff right around 65, and as I've been saying for days, my suggestion is to bring that light red jacket, because by the time we get to the end of the game, our temperatures are going to be down into the 50s, that fall-like feel for sure. Also taking note that our traffic, it is a slow go as would be expected, eastbound and westbound on Regent Street and also coming off of Campus Drive. So if you are still heading downtown here, give yourself a little bit of extra time. It's understandably going to be a slow go, but that's because everybody is ready to get down here and have a good time and enjoy the weather too. It's a great game.
You know, and they go all out for these games. The great weather really just adds to the flavor of an opening night at Camp Randall Stadium. There's a lot new. We've previewed everything, right? This week we've talked about the food they're going to have, how great the weather's going to be, the traffic things you need to know, but there's also a great show. People got little wristbands as they came in, and there is a new light show, a state-of-the-art LED light system people are going to enjoy tonight. It features 47 color-changing light features, a light show unlike any seen at a Badger football game before. It's part of the halftime show as well. Fans will get that programmed LED bracelet that's courtesy of Target. The bracelet will be set to enhance the whole Camp Randall experience, all their traditions, like when the team runs out of the tunnel, as well as jump around and much more.
And you mentioned it, the food is going to be really exciting. The lights aren't the only new thing this year. Some new food options making their debut here at Camp Randall. This season will feature a wide variety of new foods spanning several cultures, including carne asada tacos, a Korean beef rice bowl, and a giant meatball on top of a bed of mashed potatoes. Who doesn't want that? Also this year, UW is partnering with Clements out of Milwaukee to bring us a hot dog smothered in cheese sauce and wrapped in bacon, topped, of course, with fresh relish. Executive Chef Jacob Moss says Camp Randall goes through about 8,000 brats per each game day, and certainly tonight is going to be no different. Now, if you haven't been down in this area recently, you might have noticed there's a whole lot of construction going on, and a reason for that.
Yeah, the new indoor facility, it is going to be state-of-the-art. It's going up on the site of where the old shell used to be. And earlier this week, we got an exclusive progress check on the construction of the new indoor building alongside Athletic Director Chris McIntosh.
To have a role in the construction of a project like this, generations of student athletes can benefit from, is just an honor.
You can see the future rising along Monroe Street.
This facility is going to change the lives of a lot of young people. This is the biggest capital project that Wisconsin Athletics has ever done.
Football is at the center of this nearly $300 million project, but in reality, from strength training to sports medicine to every calorie they consume, this place will impact every Badger student athlete.
There's a concentration of sports, football, soccer, both tracks, volleyball, that are just more concentrated in the Camp Randall footprint. They'll have more of a day-to-day. It's a generational project.
A project that also means hundreds of local jobs. Jeremy Schechterly got his engineering degree at the UW back in 1999. Now a vice president at J.P. Cullen, his team is keeping everything on schedule as the 2025 football season kicks off.
So an event in the middle of construction is kind of chaos. So how we manage that, control that, plan that within our plan is what ultimately makes a whole lot of this success.
A unique project in a unique city and an historic venue comes with plenty of equally unique challenges.
So we can only haul them through this city at certain times of day.
Right.
So they actually show up in 4 pieces at 4:30 in the morning. And we have a crew here that unloads them, sets them on the rack that you see over there.
This project will provide us with so much flexibility and really allow us to remain strong in a way that supports our mission. And broad-based opportunity, all of our students will in one form or another be positively impacted by this, and it allows us to remain on good footing going forward.
And so that's just phase one, the indoor building. Next year, after they get done with phase 1, they'll demolish the old McLean Center and replace that with a student athletic center. Everything's supposed to be done. The Kellner Family Athletic Complex will be all set to go in the summer of 27.
Things are always happening that are exciting around here. This might just take the cake, and the players and the fans are hoping that some of those upgrades help them propel their way to a Big Ten championship game and also, of course, to a college football playoff. Speaking of upgrades and places around here, right around the corner is the UW Fieldhouse, where our Tanasia Shaw is reporting live with some updates on things happening this evening. Tanasia.
Hey, Eric and Andrew, there is so much going on here at the UW Fieldhouse. You can hear and see this band right here. The music has been like so amazing, but look, there's so much to actually do too. Take a look at this bounce house where the fans are literally jumping around, jumping around as us Badger fans like to do. But I'm gonna take you with me so you can really see what's going on in the field house right now. You see a whole bunch of fans. I'm sorry, I bumped into one. There's so many people here, I can't even help it. But we had music earlier before we started this newscast. We also had the band and the cheer team really just setting the atmosphere. So many people are amped up, ready to celebrate the Badgers. Let me tell you, get a look at this sea of red and white right here. It is truly phenomenal. And as you guys know, we have to cheer on the Badgers. And what is a good football team without a good throwing arm? This is one of the activities that you can do here at the pregame tailgate. I'm gonna compete with these kids right here. Let them see my throwing arm. I'm sorry, excuse me, kiddies. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing I can guarantee is that the Badgers tonight will have a better throwing arm than me, so we'll have to tune in for that. That's one guarantee that I can make before it happens. Eric and Andrew, I'm going to send it back to you on the field now, and then after this, in a few minutes, I will be outside of this field house showing you how people are celebrating outside.
Tanasia, thank you. And we're just getting started here tonight on Wisconsin Gameday. You want to stick around for the end of the show? We will have the entire News 3 Now team staff predictions on a final score for tonight's game between the Badgers and Miami of Ohio. Plus, we're going to have extra coverage tonight over on Channel 3000 Plus from 7 to 7:15. You won't want to miss that.
But first, the Badgers have abandoned the air raid offense they had over the last 2 seasons and are headed back to their roots in the ground game. Jeff Grimes, the offensive coordinator, his vision for this program heading into Luke Fickell's 3rd season.
Hey, this is News 3 Now senior Packers writer Jason Wilde at Lambeau Field, and we're watching Wisconsin Gameday. You, me, and Bucky. But remember, you can get all your Packers coverage at channel3000.com, and while you're there, sign up for our Packers newsletter, which will allow you to get our Packers coverage delivered directly to your inbox every single day. Enjoy the rest of the show, enjoy the season, and on Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Wisconsin Gameday. We are getting ready here at Camp Randall Stadium for the Wisconsin opener against the visiting Red Hawks of Miami of Ohio.
Now, the air raid offense for the Badgers is in the rear view. They're shifting their focus back to what they already know they do the best, and that's running the ball and running the ball often. They hired Jeff Grimes as their new offensive coordinator, filling a need that Luke Fickell says is crucial to being who they want to be. All great Wisconsin football teams found their footing through a running foundation, which is why Luke Fickell says the backs are the most important position group in their locker room.
Just a mentality that wants to win with a rough, gritty brand of football, one that is going to establish the run and utilize the vertical passing game that comes from the ability to run the football.
I think that group in particular has a bigger indication on how we really do this year than just about any other group.
Well, as Andrew found out, it might be run first around here now with Jeff Grimes and his offense, but you know, the passing game isn't dead. And if you ask the receivers, they say it's never been better.
Exactly. You know, I'm talking to the receivers before the season, and, you know, how do they feel about this whole run game thing? And like you said, it turns out they're on board. This offseason for the Badgers was all about getting back to their true identity, running the football. But that doesn't mean that Bucky won't be passing the ball, too. They have a room full of wide receivers that are as talented as they are ready to prove their value.
If I'm anybody that's playing the receiver position in this offense at this university, I'm more than thrilled and excited for the opportunity.
We're going to be featured in so many ways. It's going to be surprising to a lot, I think. We're going to get back to that nasty, that gritty, that downhill, but we're also going, have fun and spread the field out too.
Tretch Kahuna says he was 10 hours from committing to another school when Jeff Grimes, the Badgers' new offensive coordinator, called him and convinced him to come back.
We can be a great offense that is not just running the ball. We will be pounding the ball, but at the same time, when we pull those backers down, that's when we just start throwing it. That's when we create the distortion with the defense, and it's just it's great to be in this offense. Told Coach Grimes this morning, I'm happy to be in this offense, and I said a little prayer for him too.
When we first heard it, we were just like, this is what we've been wanting to do all along. I came here for this. Freshman year, we were a pro-style offense, so to get away for 2 years was a little discouraging for me, honestly. So when Grimes got hired, I was like, oh yeah, this is my thing.
And Andrew, with the start of the college academic calendar, our coverage of UW athletics is really just getting started because we're getting ready for year 3 of the Wisconsin Huddle.
Where does the time go? We're already headed in to the 3rd season of the show, where we bring Wisconsin sports directly to fans at home with exclusive insights from the players and behind-the-scenes access you just won't get anywhere else. Each week we'll have a different Badger athlete come on and help host the show. This year's show will be held at Jay's Bar on Francis Street, which is right down the street from here. The first episode is scheduled for the first week of September, and of course, we hope to see you there. Earlier in the show, we talked about some of the new uniforms that Wisconsin will be wearing, but everybody, not just the players on the field, get into the whole fashion movement when it comes to football, even the fans.
You gotta look your best when you're coming to Camp Randall Stadium, and our Badger beat reporter Kayla Dembeck has more on what is popular with clothing Badger style this year.
At UW-Madison, school spirit is serious business, and so is game day fashion. From basics to bold looks, I'm hitting all the campus hotspots to see what students are rocking on game day.
Anything that is vintage, like 80s, 90s, even 2000s, and then anything new that gives off that vintage look.
While throwback styles are trending, students say local culture still has a strong influence.
I think you see a lot of the stuff from like Midwest culture, like you still see like a lot of camo.
But with cold weather and lots of jumping around, being practical is key.
I found this jacket, and I see a lot of girls, especially, at tailgates wearing this. A lot of people like dress for like comfort, so it's like they go cute and cozy.
And while some are stylish, others keep it simple.
Mostly my friends and I just wear the overalls that they have.
So whether the Badgers win or lose, the fits are always a W. For News 3 Now, I'm Kayla Dembeck.
And stick around, still to come, a very important part of this show, Andrew, our predictions for tonight's game, as well as some final thoughts as Wisconsin Game Day continues. Stay with us. Welcome back to our pregame coverage of Badgers in Miami of Ohio, Wisconsin Game Day. We are a little more than an hour away until kickoff. We're starting to see some students filing in. We love it, students. We need that student section full this year, like at kickoff, right?
You're totally right, and it's basically impossible around here. We all know that that's a struggle for the student section, and not necessarily the students. There's more that goes into it.
It's not all their fault.
Sure, but a little bit. We'd like to see them some more in here, and it's a good sign early. There might be more students than other fans here already.
Right. A lot of Miami, we're right by the parents of the Miami players, so we're seeing a lot of them, but I think everybody's going to be happy with the weather. Chief Meteorologist Alex Harrington joining us once again. It's going to be a beautiful night.
Beautiful game, beautiful night for football. Almost that fall-like feel. Yeah. The sun is settled down here just behind the stadium to the west here, and temperatures are starting to take a drop. We'll be at about 67 at kickoff time, halftime right around 60, and then in the upper 50s by the time we wrap up the game. So as I've been saying for days, bring that light red jacket, and you're going to have a great time down here as fans starting to fill on in. And even if you didn't bring that light jacket, It's going to fill in. It's going to feel pretty warm in the stadium here.
Yeah, it should be a great night for football. I love that fall field. Traffic will be a little bit of an issue. Hopefully you give yourself a little extra time. But let's get back to today's Josh. She's giving us more of an update on what's happening. There's a lot of stuff going on to celebrate this game outside the stadium, and Tanasia joins us with more.
Hey, Eric and Andrew again. One thing that everybody loves about this time of the year is this party inside and outside Camp Randall before kickoff even starts. But what is any good party without good barbecue, tailgating? Let me tell you, it's so much going on here. I don't want to knock over their plates, but it's so much good food, beer, and fun and Badger pride. Let me tell you, it's the best place to be right now. And everybody over here also has that Badger pride. You can see that they're already, just excited before kickoff even starts. And my friends here, they have something, to send the Badgers off in good spirits.
Go Badgers!
Okay, we can do better than that. I think everybody can say it. Go Badgers! Go Badgers! Again, we're out here just partying and having a good time. Eric and Andrew, I want to celebrate with them some more, so I'm going to send it back to you.
What a night. So much going on. Tanasia, thank you. It's going to be a festive night. Now all they got to do is top it off with a W, right?
Absolutely.
We don't want anybody going home sad.
No, and neither does our staff. At least it seems. Of course, the part that you've all been waiting for, I'm sure, are the game predictions from our entire News 3 Now staff. Let's get into it. We'll start here with a look at our morning crew. Everyone here, shocking, is going with the Badgers. Chris Stanford picks a close one with a Wisconsin win. The Badgers squeaking by 27-24. Kyrion, Josh, and Savannah have UW winning comfortably.
Now to the afternoon crew, a little cobwebs out of their head, so they're thinking a little more clearly. Once again, everyone taking the Badgers. Susan and Jason have Bucky in a dogfight. Brady and Sarah, well, they think the Badgers are going to take care of business as well. As for what we think, well, Andrew and I think we're going to see a hard-fought 3 quarters of football. I think it's going to be close going into the 4th quarter, but a late Billy Edwards touchdown pass pulls the Badgers away, 30-16. I got Wisconsin getting out of here with a win tonight against a very good, respectable opponent.
And I promise, Eric and I didn't even talk about this beforehand, but as you can see, our score predictions are very, very close. I'm just a little different. 31-14, Wisconsin is my guess. Now, the Miami fans behind me, I'm sure, don't totally agree, but that would be my opinion. I agree. Billy Edwards going to be a big factor tonight, and that 3-headed monster you get out of that Wisconsin run game is going to also play a really big factor tonight. I expect Cade Giacomelli, a guy that not a lot of people are expecting to be effective in the pass game and finish with a touchdown or 2.
I think it all starts with some experience up front of the offensive line. They run the ball, but they go to the air when they need to, and they're effective in doing so. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for joining us here on Wisconsin Game Day. Big Brother's next, but we're not done. Over on Channel 3000 Plus, we'll have more on tonight's game.
This is a News 3 Now special presentation. A season-opening showdown under the lights at Camp Randall. Game day is here. The Badgers are back for year 3 of the Luke Fickell era, and the pressure has never been higher. The air raid is in the rearview mirror as Bucky gets back to its roots. A rebalanced offense under Jeff Grimes with fresh faces from the transfer portal banking on a run-first mentality to restore their identity. Can this revamped offense finally lift off tonight against the Red Hawks from the Mid-American Conference?
We always have one goal in this program is to play for championships.
This is Wisconsin Game Day, coming to you live from the field at Camp Randall Stadium. Let's go.
Welcome to our extended coverage on Channel 3000 Plus of the Badgers season opener. You're taking a live look at historic Camp Randall Stadium. Football returns in about an hour. The Badgers open the 2025 season against the visiting Red Hawks of Miami University. And good evening once again. I'm Eric Franke, live from Barry Alvarez Field at Camp Randall Stadium alongside News 3 Now Sports Director Andrew Banstra. And we are just about ready for some football here finally, an hour away from kickoff.
You know, we spoke with Matt LePay earlier. He mentioned college football is the longest offseason in sports. You got to wait 9 months. It's been a long time, but I think we can make it this last hour just to finally get back in there. Everybody's starting to fill in the stadium here. Their excitement is obvious, and I hope ours is too. Excited to be here with you and get into a matchup, Wisconsin versus Miami of Ohio, that we were talking a little bit off air earlier. You know, normally in these week 1 games, it's just kind of a game you know you're going to win. But Miami of Ohio is no joke.
Not at all. They're always very competitive in the Mid-American Conference. Great football coach in Chuck Martin. He was the offensive coordinator when Notre Dame went to the title game 10 years ago. He was the head coach at Grand Valley State after Brian Kelly. Matt Mitchell, who's on the Badger staff, succeeded him as the head coach. He's a great football coach. Miami has great tradition, great players, many of whom felt, hey, I deserve to have played in the Big Ten. They're playing for a great program. This is going to be a hard-fought win for the Badgers, I think, if they can get the win.
And if they can, and trying to start off that season on a winning note, that would be the plan. But first, they have to take care of Miami.
Yeah, and Luke Fickell knows all about Miami, Ohio, right? He's an Ohio guy. Oxford is just a little bit north of Cincinnati. Beautiful campus, and so Luke Fickell, having coached at Cincinnati, he knows all about them.
He certainly does. When he was at Cincinnati, he played against these Red Hawks in 5 of his 6 seasons. The only year they didn't play that Victory Bell rivalry game was during COVID in 2020. His Bearcats got the best of Miami and rang the Victory Bell in each of those rivalry meetings, beating them all 5 times, I should say. And like you said, has a good relationship with their head coach, Chuck Martin, because after all, the Victory Bell is the 4th most played rivalry in the history of college football, but that doesn't mean he knows everything about the Red Hawks.
It's a challenging time because even as you start to dive into your opponent, there's a lot of unknowns with them as well. That's like always been that way in game 1s, but I think in particular, even for a team like Miami of Ohio, who I think I know a lot about, playing them every year. Chuck Martin's done a great job, I don't think, over the last 13 years. So there's some consistencies there, but still, as you go to personnel, same thing they're probably saying for us. There's a lot of unknowns as they look at what they're going to see and we look at what we're going to see. But ultimately, game 1 in particular, it's about focusing on yourself. And for us, it's about going out there. It's about us playing with some confidence and playing clean.
And to make matters even more familiar, Fickell doesn't just know Miami that well, he knows their quarterback quite well. DeQuan Finn, the starting quarterback for Miami, was the MVP of the MAC, the conference that Miami plays for, when he played at Toledo 2 years ago.
Yeah, then he went to the portal. Luke Fickell tried to get him to come here, and he ended up at Baylor, but we saw this guy warming up a little bit ago. He's a dude, okay?
Yeah.
This is what you call a dude. This guy's going to be a nightmare. I mean, even if the Badgers can contain him, he's extremely athletic. He's experienced. He's one of these dual threat guys. But ultimately, like we said, instead of coming to Wisconsin, he went down to Baylor, played for Dave Aranda. He is a speedster, a great arm, and a quarterback Luke Fickell is fond of, as he's scouted him for years. That plays into the coach's hand a bit when it comes to preparation. He knows it's paramount for Wisconsin to try to contain as much as they can DeQuan Finn's explosive play potential.
Obviously a dual threat guy, but that doesn't take away from his ability to throw the football. And so I think more than anything, when you look at a quarterback that's been through a lot of different things, obviously 3 or 4 years at Toledo, a year at Baylor, you see a maturity as they continue to grow. And sometimes, maybe things didn't go exactly the way you wanted them last year at Baylor. Sometimes that does nothing but helps you grow up more than anything else. So I would expect nothing but the best. And you can watch, and we've watched and know a little bit more about him just because of, trying to look at him a couple of years ago. I think he fits what they do in this system more like he did at Toledo than maybe he did at Baylor. And I would expect that, you'll see a guy that's pretty dynamic, and I don't just mean in running, but the ability to throw the ball down the field, the ability to create things with his feet, and he's played a lot of football.
Mike Tressel, defensive coordinator for the Badgers, they got to find a way to kind of keep him contained, because if they can't control him and kind of slow down that offense, it's going to be a long night, and they've got to find some things to do with that defense.
You're totally right. The defense is something that we haven't talked a lot about, and honestly, you could kind of argue that Mike Tressel got off a little easy when Phil Longo was let go, because the defense was not so good last season. They really had a hard time creating turnovers, but the tackle for loss category, that was the real glaring problem. Believe it or not, the Badgers had the least tackles for loss in the entire country, the entire NCAA last year, and rightfully so. They've changed a lot of schemes around to make that right in 2025, in addition to adding a whole lot of size and depth on the defensive line, a formula the team's defensive coordinator thinks might just do the trick.
We know we need to improve takeaways and tackles for loss, but just as much, and maybe even more, we've attacked mentality where we want to understand those are the objectives. We can't be trying to hang on to do our job. We're playing football, not fitball. And I do believe if truly the top objectives are the defense or create negatives, take the ball away, and eliminate explosives, that will allow the guys to rock and roll. So
you go all the way back to the defenses in the early 90s that Barry Alvarez built here, Kevin Cosgrove, all the way through, you know, the defensive coordinators they had, like Dave Aranda, like Jim Leonard. It's always been built around defense, physical football. And you felt when they went air raid, a lot of people were kind of like, you know, that's not really what they want. You get what Fickell's going for there with everybody loves to throw the ball around, but hard-nosed physical football has to be kind of paramount to Wisconsin returning to the success they've had.
I totally agree. It felt like in some ways Luke Fickell kind of thought that he could kind of get around what Wisconsin's foundation was, just hoping that he could do what everybody else was doing and bring it here. And he's learned over the last 2 years that Wisconsin works when Wisconsin does what they do best, and that's get the big guys out front and absolutely get down and play hard-nosed football. But no matter what they do this season, the schedule is going to be what we keep talking about. It's no joke.
I said this the other day. It's like if they can get 7-5, he might be the Big Ten Coach of the Year with this schedule. You've got at Oregon, you've got at Michigan, you've got at Alabama, who am I forget? At Indiana, that was a playoff team last year. Just really good football teams, top to bottom. There are very few weeks. You look at maybe a game they can sneak is like an Iowa game. Well, it's Iowa. It's Minnesota. These are rivalry games. So, you know, you look at that schedule, it is top to bottom tough. There really are very, very few weeks off, if any.
And you said it. I mean, Iowa's a team that hung 42 points on them last year, too. And Iowa's not known for their offense. That's certainly no secret. The Badgers this year, they're going to play 6 teams ranked in the top 25, and 5 of those ranked in the top 15. It all starts week 3 when the Badgers head down to Tuscaloosa to take on number 8, preseason number 8, Alabama. And then 3 weeks later, like you said, they go to Ann Arbor, kicking off an absolute gauntlet of a schedule with the reigning national champions, number 3, Ohio State. You said it, number 7, Oregon, number 20, Indiana, and then number 12, Illinois. To succeed, the Badgers say they need to get back to exactly what we were just saying, Wisconsin football.
Just getting back to playing the game the right way. And, you know, like I said, playing the game the right way can mean a lot of different things to a lot of people. I think for us, just being the most toughest, you know, physical, nasty, and disciplined team, you know, when you look up Wisconsin football and the tradition and history, kind of what pops up and what, you know, what does it make you think of? I think that's what we're trying to get back to.
I think a lot of it's just like our mentality coming into this year. I mean, we're going to be the more physical team, and we're going to try to wear people down, try to get back to old Wisconsin football.
I think we'll surprise people on how good we actually are. And I think people don't know how good we are just because they haven't seen us and it's just the last year, but we're a totally different team mentally and physically.
You know, we thought last year was on track, right? They get off to a good start, had the unfortunate injury to Van Dyke, so they lose their starting quarterback. But they still managed to bounce back. You think mid-season after that win at Rutgers, this is Wisconsin football, we're heading in the right direction. But it fell apart. And this year they got to try to find a way to keep that going throughout the course of the season.
And one, it starts with winning these early season games that they've had a really hard time winning under Luke Fickell's tenure. And, you know, last season, like you said, it looked awesome, and it turned into more of a season of what if, or what could have been for the Badgers. Season started off well, beating their non-conference foes, but it turned for the worst, happened against Alabama when their starting quarterback, who transferred in from Miami of Florida, Tyler Van Dyke, suffered a season-ending injury and a blowout loss to the Crimson Tide, followed by a heartbreaker at USC. But then you said it, the Badgers hit their stride maybe more than any time in the Fickell era, beating down the Boilermakers and winning 3 in a row, getting off to a 5-2 start. And at that point, there seemed to be no question about whether they'd make a bowl game, but we all know what happened next. Everything went downhill. The Badgers lost 5 in a row, capped by a heartbreaking loss to Minnesota, sending the Axe back to the Twin Cities. And the Badgers ended a 22-season bowl streak. So we know what happened last year. This year is now what we're focused on, and I'd imagine the guys behind us that are getting started warming up would say the same thing.
Yeah, I got the specialists for both teams out on the field. They're starting to go through the pregame warm-ups. Place is starting to fill up a little bit. I know people are totally amped for this game. We've got a light show coming and all that, but yeah, to win this game, I think it comes down to what goes on in the trenches. You know, you got some experience up front. They've added some pieces to that offensive line through the transfer portal. You got an experienced quarterback. You and I have talked off camera about how Edwards kind of carries himself. This is a mature kid. He's played a lot of football, had some great statistics last year with Maryland in a situation that kind of fell apart. But he's been an impressive kid, I know, for you to talk to in the preseason.
Incredibly impressive, and you know, off the field you only get so much, and obviously I've seen him practice too, but there's just a different charisma about Billy Edwards Jr. And Luke Fickell said, you know, this guy's a leader, this guy's a leader. Then you talk to him and you're like, oh wait, no, he is a leader. Like, he's just the kind of person you talk to and you're like, I'd want to be on that guy's team. And you know, certainly the play style speaks for itself. And Matt LePay mentioned earlier what he did at Maryland last year in terms of passing yards would have ranked 3rd all-time at Wisconsin.
That's crazy,
it's nuts.
That's nuts. Now, you've talked to Jeff Grimes at times throughout the non-conference. He's like the assistant coach that everybody's talking about. He was with Lance Leipold last year at Kansas. Of course, Lance Leipold was at Whitewater, and he's had great success after that at Buffalo and also at Kansas. And I think the statistic, as I looked at the game notes on this, that was really telling was 3rd down conversions. Kansas was 2nd in the country last year on 3rd down, and of course that's a huge down. That's where I think Billy Edwards' experience coupled with Jeff Grimes' mindset makes this a different football team.
I totally agree, and Wisconsin was painful on 3rd down last season, not just on offense, but on defense too. And, you know, you don't leave a good program, or what has become a good program like Kansas, under a great coach and an up-and-coming coach like Leipold, if you don't believe in what's going on at Wisconsin. And, you know, Jeff Grimes said over and over again, from afar, I've always adored what Wisconsin does, and that starts with what they've always done on the ground. So to him, you know, this was the dream hire, the ability to do something that means a lot to him, which is implement the ground game at a school that needs to get back to their identity, which is the ground game. To me, on paper, it seems like the perfect marriage. Tonight we'll finally get to see if the divorce papers start coming out in a few years.
I think we're going to see a little bit more of the Luke Fickell of Cincinnati in this team this year. You have an experienced offensive coordinator in Jeff Grimes who likes to run the football, matches Luke Fickell's kind of mindset. And like he had with Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati, you have a mature, older quarterback, maybe not the most mobile guy in the world that you're going to want to run around like we're going to see from Daquan Finn tonight, but a guy who can make those plays on 3rd down. I think it all comes together for the offense. We don't, you know, it's so crazy nowadays in football. You've got this transfer portal thing, right? I was talking to Matt LePay about this. You know, he's got these cards. You ever go in the booth with a radio play-by-play guy? They got the cards, and they know, and Matt's the best there is. And they have to, you know, get to know these guys. Long gone are the years when, you know, you had a Ron Dane or a Lee Evans for 4 or 5 years. Those guys, if they're not happy right out of the gate, they're going somewhere else. So you got to learn new guys every year. And we're going to get to know a lot of the new faces tonight. They're here at least for the year, folks. Just keep that in mind. But I think they've put some pretty good pieces together for this team.
And you mentioned Luke Fickell maybe turning the corner on a couple of things. One thing that has always struck me in the last couple of years that I would have never imagined would be happening within, you know, a football program of this stature was that as they get to the end of the year and things were falling apart, Fickell, you know, multiple times said, like, we need to see who's with us and who's not with us. And the idea that that would be happening here of all places was troubling, and they had a couple of big transfers come in that were pass catchers. Mark Hamper, Tanner Koziel. that were big names, and both of them left. And Fickell was asked about it, and he basically said, and who knows really what happened, but Fickell basically said, you know, if they don't want to do what we want to do, which is do things the right way, then they can get out of here. And to me, that's the corner that he started to turn, is that, like, we're going to do things my way, and that's who he was at Cincinnati.
That's how he's got to be, right? That's how he's got to be. He was a defensive tackle at Ohio State. He was a wrestling champion in Columbus, Ohio. Yeah. This guy knows what hard-nosed football is. So you get it. You know, the Phil Longo experiment was kind of a deviation from what he had done. He always had these great assistants, whether it was the ones he had at Cincinnati, the Marcus Freemans, the guys like that that made up that staff. And this was, you know, I think he tried something. Give him a lot of credit. He made a change. That's never easy. He knows when you got to relieve a coach of his duties, they move him on. You got families that you displace. Coaches hate doing that. These guys, you know, there's so many families impacted by that sort of thing. But he had to get back to Wisconsin football, and that's what he's done here. I think Grimes is going to be the story of the year. I think it starts tonight with how we see that offensive line gel and the running backs move the football. Some play action from Billy Edwards. Going to see play action again instead of air raid and all that stuff. I know. People love to see the ball thrown around, but people love winning a lot more.
They love it a whole lot more because the ball was thrown last year, but what weren't thrown were a whole lot of W's. And now, let's talk about what I'm sure everybody at home wants to hear. Not just our predictions, but everybody that works right alongside us predictions, and what we're going to see for, you know, the game tonight from their perspectives.
Yeah, we had our morning show. We went and we asked every single person in our newsroom. You can tell some of them, as we get some pregame fireworks going, we asked everybody from the morning show all the way to the night crew. And I know the morning show, as I'm bringing up their predictions here on my phone, because I don't have them, but I know Chris Stanford pretty much everybody picked W's, right?
Everybody.
Stanford 27-24, so he's saying nail biter. Kyrion, Josh, and Savannah, UW comfortably. The afternoon crew, I know Susan had the Badgers winning a dogfight. Sarah also saying, you know, Sarah's an alum, so she's going Cardinal and White all the way. I see it as a very hard-fought game. You know, 20 years ago, you'd have a team, or even 10 years ago, Miami came in here, they lost 58-0.
It's not going to happen.
That was Paul Chryst' first game. So that was a different era. You have the portal era where you have guys like Daquan Finn. There's a lot of guys on this team that have played for FBS schools, and they're hungry. They're playing their last year of football. This is an experienced, very good football team. I think the days of, at least when you're playing a MAC opponent and winning 48-0 they're in the past. This is going to be a tight game, I think, going to the fourth. Maybe a touchdown Badger lead. They pull away, and they win. It happens. It's okay.
And I think a full screen graphic might be up now. So they might. I know we just had somebody just kind of waltz in front of the camera.
We tried to make her famous.
It happens.
No, but I think the Badgers win 30-16 and pull away late and get that W. You know, anybody coming down here thinking this is going to be 45-0 or something like that, I think they're kidding themselves.
I totally agree, and this is a Miami team that, you know, we talked about earlier, was in the MAC championship game last year, won the conference a couple of years ago, and I promise Eric and I didn't discuss our scores beforehand. You know, we weren't keeping them secrets, but we were pretty close. I had Bucky winning 31-14, and if that happens, everybody here that's filling into this stadium is in for an absolute treat tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Chris McIntosh, athletic director, walking by as this game gets closer to kickoff, and I think we're going to have a packed house. And if you're coming down here and you're still at home, hopefully you're in walking distance to the stadium, because I know traffic's a nightmare out there. What time is it anyway? 7:15?
7:17.
All right, so we're getting closer to kickoff, and we got a light show. So when you come in, you're going to have to deal with traffic, but they have these wristbands, and they're connected, right, to these LED lights. So this is going to be, like I said, Coldplay show all over, but with football being played.
And no, like, scandals going on, you know, none of that.
Well, we don't know.
That's true.
I think they'll have some cameras in.
Yeah, that's
true.
true.
Hopefully you brought your wife, right?
All right.
No, but
nobody else.
It's going to be an electric atmosphere, and they're going to coordinate these bracelets, the light show, everything with the Badger Marching Band, which is, of course, such a big draw for the fans that come here.
It's such a big deal, and, you know, these lights, you can just see them. Earlier, they were testing them, and they were kind of wobbling them back and forth. They are really, really cool. They're no joke, and we hope neither of these Badgers this year. It's going to be a whole lot of fun watching them not just tonight, but the entire season.
I just looked over at the student section. It's getting full.
It is.
I mean, fuller.
Yeah.
But
their stakes.
Hey, UW students, you got to go to the football games. Get there early. This is one of the great places in all of college football. Camp Randall Stadium, and what a better, you cannot find a better way to kick off the 2025 football season for those of us in Wisconsin than Micah Parsons to the Packers and a Badger home game at night to kick off the season on a beautiful night.
We couldn't go this whole show without mentioning Micah Parsons to the Packers. Don't think just because we've been here all day, we didn't know that happened, because we very, very much did. And you're right, pairing that with a Badger win would leave a whole lot of people happy going to sleep tonight.
Andrew Banstra, it's been fun doing this show with you and our Badger Wisconsin Game Day special. We appreciate all of our staff helping us put this show together. Folks, enjoy the game tonight, and of course, we'll have all your post-game coverage on air on News 3 Now, and as always, at channel3000.com. Thanks for joining us.